You're in your 40s or 50s, you're scrolling through your phone, and you see another story about some 26-year-old who just sold their startup for $200 million, or some kid who turned $5,000 in crypto into a yacht. And for a second, just a second, you feel this quiet, sinking feeling in your chest, like you missed it, like the window already closed, like somewhere along the way you made a wrong turn, and now it's too late to build any real wealth. I want to talk to you directly right now. That feeling is lying to you, and I can prove it. My name is Yaji, and I spend way too much time thinking about how wealth actually gets built, not how Hollywood says it gets built, not how Instagram says it gets built, but how it really works for real people with real jobs and real bills. If you're someone who feels like you're behind on your financial goals, like time is running out, and everyone else figured something out that you didn't, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today, I'm going to show you something that completely reframes the timeline of wealth. It's called the 60-year rule. And once you understand it, I promise you, that sinking feeling, it goes away. Look, our culture is completely obsessed with a specific myth. The myth of the 25-year-old tech billionaire, the overnight crypto millionaire, the young prodigy who cracks the code before they can even legally rent a car. We are sold this story constantly in movies, on social media, in the news. And here's the thing. That story does an incredible amount of damage. Because what it does is make millions of people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s feel like total failures. It creates this constant nagging anxiety that you are hopelessly, irreversibly behind. But here's what most people don't realize. Getting rich young is statistically almost laughably rare. It's a lottery ticket. It's not a financial plan. The reality of wealth in this country looks very, very different. Let's look at the most recent data from the Federal Reserve. For households under the age of 35, the median net worth is around $39,000. For households aged 65 to 74, that median net worth is $410,000. That is more than a tenfold difference. Let that sink in for a second. The people who have the most wealth in this country are not the young ones. They're the ones who stuck around long enough for the math to work in their favor. Wealth isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And the last few miles, that's where you pick up the most speed. So what exactly is the 60-year rule? It's not a strategy you follow for 60 years. It's a name for a financial event horizon, a trigger point that most people cross right around age 60. It's the moment where four critical forces, which have been quietly building in the background for decades, finally converge at the same time and ignite your net worth. Think of it like building a bonfire. In your 20s and 30s, you're gathering the kindling little sticks, bits of paper. It doesn't look like much. In your 40s, you're adding larger logs. It's starting to look like something, but there's no fire yet. In your 50s, you're stacking the final heavy logs and soaking everything in lighter fluid. Then, around 60, someone hands you a match. The explosion of wealth seems to come out of nowhere. But in reality, it was decades of patient preparation finally catching fire all at once. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Yaji, what are these four forces? Let me break them down. Because this is where it gets really interesting. The four pillars of the 60-year rule are: 1. Peak earnings power. 2. The explosive acceleration of compound interest. 3. A government-approved supercharged savings engine. And 4. The quiet giant home equity. When these four forces align, your wealth-building journey shifts from a slow, grinding crawl to a full-speed sprint. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in real life. Let's talk about Mark and Sarah. They're 62 years old today. They are not doctors. They're not Silicon Valley executives. Mark worked in logistics. Sarah was a school administrator. They never earned a giant salary. They didn't inherit money. They didn't win the lottery. By all accounts, their financial life was normal. They got married in their late 20s, had 2 kids, bought a modest house. For years, they felt like they were just treading water, paying bills, saving a little in their 401 seconds, chipping away at their mortgage. They looked at some friends who seemed to be doing better and felt that familiar pang of anxiety. They worried they weren't saving enough, that they'd have to work forever. Today, at 62, Mark and Sarah have a net worth of over $2 million. They are financially independent. They travel. They spend time with their grandkids. They don't worry about money. How did that happen? It wasn't magic. It was the 60-year rule in action, and their story is the perfect blueprint. The first pillar is income, and here's what most people don't realize about their own earning potential. We're led to believe that our careers peak in our 30s, but for most people, the highest earning years actually come much later, typically between ages 45 and 60. This isn't just about getting promotions. It's about the decades of accumulated experience, expertise, and credibility you bring to the table. For Mark and Sarah, their 50s were transformative. Their salaries hit their peak. Mark was a senior manager. Sarah was a vice principal. But here's the crucial thing: their major expenses were also starting to drop at the same time. The kids had finished college and were on their own. The cars were paid off. And for the first time in their lives, there was a significant gap between what they were earning and what they were spending. Financial planners have a name for this. They call it surplus cash flow. And it is the rocket fuel for the 60-year rule. In their 30s, Mark and Sarah struggled to save 10% of their income. In their 50s, they could comfortably save 25%, sometimes 30% of a much larger paycheck. That surplus wasn't going into a regular savings account. It was going straight into the engine of Pillar 2. Everyone has heard of compound interest. Everyone nods along when someone mentions it, but almost everyone massively underestimates its power because its most dramatic effects are invisible for decades. Compounding is deeply backloaded. It's not a straight line. It's an exponential curve that feels almost completely flat for a very, very long time, and then suddenly decides to go full rocket ship. Let me show you this with real numbers. At age 40, after more than a decade of saving, Mark and Sarah's combined retirement accounts were around $150,000. It had taken them 12 years of diligent, consistent saving to get there. They felt like they were getting nowhere. But they kept at it. By age 50, their accounts had grown to around $500,000. A mix of their own contributions, employer matches, and market growth. $500,000 felt like a massive milestone. But here is exactly where the 60-year rule kicks in. It took them over 20 years to accumulate their first $500,000. Their next $500,000 took just 7 years. By age 57, their portfolio crossed the $1 million mark. And that growth in those 7 years was driven less by their own new contributions and more by the earnings of the money that was already there. Their portfolio had become a powerful army of dollar bills, all working for them around the clock, every single day. By age 62, their retirement accounts had grown to over $1.5 million. The growth from $1 million to $1.5 million happened in just 5 years. That is the avalanche. The snowball they started rolling in their late 20s had become unstoppable. And this is exactly what the wealth data tells us. The massive gap in net worth between younger and older households isn't just about saving more. It's about the sheer mathematical power of a portfolio reaching critical mass after decades of compounding. Here's the thing: the money itself does the heavy lifting. You just have to be patient enough to let it. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Because the government, the same government that makes taxes complicated and confusing, actually hands you a legal superpower once you hit a certain age. These are called catch-up contributions, and they are one of the most underused wealth-building tools in existence. Here's how it works. For 2026, the standard 401 contribution limit is $24,500 per year. That's what everyone under 50 can put in. But once you turn 50, the IRS allows you to contribute an additional $8,000 on top of that, bringing your total potential savings to $32,500 per year. But wait, it gets even better. The Secure 2 Act created something called the Super Catch-Up Contribution. This is specifically for workers aged 60, 61, 62, and 63. During those 4 critical years, your catch-up contribution jumps to $11,250. So your total potential 401 contribution for those years? $35,750 per person. Mark and Sarah were both in that window. Combined, they were putting away over $70,000 per year into their tax-advantaged retirement accounts right at the exact moment their income was at its highest, their expenses were at their lowest, and their compounding was hitting its stride. That combination is not an accident, it's by design. The 60-year rule works in part because the legal framework of retirement savings is literally structured to reward people who have been in the workforce for decades. Younger workers simply cannot access this advantage. You have to earn it with time, The final pillar is the one that works silently in the background for 30 years. And most people don't even think about it as wealth building. They think of it as just a bill they pay every month. Their home. Mark and Sarah bought their house for $150,000 in their early 30s. For decades, that mortgage was a constant weight on their budget, a huge liability, a source of stress. But with every single payment, they were quietly, steadily building a sliver of ownership. Fast forward 30 years. At 62, the mortgage is completely gone. That $2,000 monthly payment they had been making for 3 decades is now pure surplus cash flow they can use for anything they want. But here's the bigger story. Their home, through a combination of inflation and market appreciation, is now worth $500,000. A $500,000 asset. Completely paid for. Providing security, a place to live rent-free for the rest of their lives, and a massive store of value underpinning their entire financial picture. This is a massive contrast to younger households, who are often burdened by enormous mortgages relative to what their home is actually worth. The mortgage payoff is a financial milestone that almost exclusively happens in our later years. And it is a cornerstone of the 60-year rule. So let's step back and look at where Mark and Sarah are. Retirement accounts, over $1.5 million built through decades of saving, amplified by peak earnings, explosive compounding, and supercharged catch-up contributions. Home equity, a paid-off home worth $500,000 providing stability and a rock-solid asset on their balance sheet. Other savings, around $100,000 in cash and other investments. Total net worth, $2.1 million. That number was not the result of a lucky stock pick. It wasn't a high-flying career. It wasn't a secret strategy. It was the completely predictable outcome of discipline, time, and 4 forces converging right around age 60. Now, Mark and Sarah's story is aspirational. They save consistently and at a high rate. But here's the thing, even if your numbers end up being half of theirs, the principle of the 60-year rule is exactly the same. The median net worth for households aged 65 to 74 is $410,000, over 10 times the median for households under 35. The late-stage wealth convergence is real, whether you end up with $400,000 or $4 million. Once you cross the 60-year threshold, the game changes completely. Your entire financial life up to this point has been about one thing: accumulation. Building the pile. Growing the number. Now, the focus shifts. The primary question is no longer how do I grow my money? It's how do I make this money last for the rest of my life? For years, the common guideline was the 4% rule, the idea that you can safely withdraw 4% of your portfolio each year without running out of money. But the conversation around this is evolving. The creator of the rule himself, Bill Bengen, has said that today's market conditions might call for a more dynamic approach. Some experts now suggest withdrawal rates between 3.5% and 4.7% depending on the environment. The point is, the strategies that built your wealth are not the same strategies that will sustain it. The goal shifts from wealth creation to income generation. Your portfolio is no longer a construction site. It is now the factory that will produce your paychecks for the next 30 years. This is why financial planning after 60 is arguably more important and more nuanced than financial planning at any earlier stage. Look, I want to take a second here and address something directly because I think it's important. The reason the 60-year rule matters isn't just mathematical, it's psychological. The myth of getting rich young doesn't just give people false hope, it also destroys perfectly valid hope. It makes people in their 40s and 50s genuinely believe that the best financial years of their life are behind them. And that belief causes real harm. People stop saving. They stop contributing to their 401. They think, what's the point? And they cash out early and pay the penalties. They give up on home ownership. They make the worst possible financial decisions because they've convinced themselves it's already over. But the data says the opposite. The data says the best is yet to come. That feeling of being behind at 40 or 50 is an illusion. It's like watching a marathon runner at mile 15 and thinking they're losing without realizing that their entire race strategy was built to peak in the final 10 miles. You are not behind. You are exactly in the middle of a process that is designed to pay off later. The false finish line that society has drawn at age 35 is not the real one. The real inflection point, the moment of financial ignition, is around 60. So what do you actually do with this information? 3 things, right now, today. Number 1, protect your compounding engine at all costs. Do not touch your retirement accounts early. Do not cash out for a kitchen renovation or a vacation. Every dollar you pull out now doesn't just disappear, it takes all of its future compound growth with it. The single most damaging financial mistake people make in their 40s and 50s is disrupting the compounding engine right before it's about to explode. Number 2. If you are 50 or older, make catch-up contributions a priority. Even if you can only afford to add a small amount above the standard limit, do it. Every additional dollar you put in during your peak earning years is a dollar that enters your portfolio at exactly the moment the compounding math is most powerful. Number 3. Take your home equity seriously as part of your net worth. Know what your home is worth. Know what you owe. Understand that every extra principal payment you make accelerates the day when that mortgage disappears and your home becomes a pure, unencumbered asset on your balance sheet. These aren't complicated. They're not flashy, but they are the mechanics of the 60-year rule in motion. If this idea of a long-term, less stressful approach to building wealth resonates with you, if you're ready to trade financial anxiety for a clear, achievable plan, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. We put out videos every week that are specifically built to give you clarity and confidence on your financial journey at every age. And if this video helped you see your financial situation differently, a quick thumbs up makes a genuinely huge difference for this channel. It helps the algorithm get this information to more people who are sitting at home right now feeling like they missed the boat. Let's get them this message. Here's the big takeaway. The 62-year rule is a message of hope. It is the most powerful antidote I know to the toxic, damaging myth that you're in a race against time to get rich young. You are not in a race. You are on a journey. Wealth isn't about being a young genius. It's about being a disciplined marathon runner. It's about leveraging 4 incredible forces that work in your favor over a long period of time: your growing experience and earning power, the unstoppable mathematics of compounding, the strategic legal advantage of catch-up contributions, and the quiet, foundational security of home ownership. None of these forces show their combined power until later in life. That's the whole point. That's the entire design. So take a deep breath. You are not behind. You are right on track. And the most powerful and rewarding years of your entire wealth-building journey are very likely still ahead of you. I'll see you in the next one.